Hello, and welcome to this video on why holistic mental health is something I am so devoted to raising awareness about, advocating for, and educating about. I've been a therapist for 20 years, and I went fully holistic about 8 years ago and completely closed my traditional therapy practice in 2020 and have been operating holistically since then. So I'm here to share a few things with you. I'm going to be talking about holistic mental health and what that even means. I'm going to be talking about why it's so important to advocate for it and to raise awareness about it. And then I'm going to be sharing some information about my holistic mental health project that's coming up that you are welcome to join me in and be a part of if you are a holistic practitioner of any kind, to share your voice, to raise awareness, and to invite people into realizing the possibility of moving into wellness, sustainable wellness, their own way, their own unique way. Okay, so I'm going to share a little story to start so that you understand where this came from. So again, I've been a therapist for 20 years. About 8 years ago, I got sepsis. Prior to that, both of my parents got sick with cancer. One of them passed, one of them did not, but they got sick at the same time. And after my father passed away, I ended up getting pregnant with my third child and had a very, very sick pregnancy. About a year after she was born is when I got sepsis. And they couldn't find the origin or the source of it. And I was so sick for so many years. It did a lot of damage to my system. And by the time I had gotten to the hospital with sepsis, they said that if I had been there 30 minutes later, I would not have survived. They sent me to hundreds of specialists, and I had every test done under the sun. And really, what ended up being the message about a year and a half after that event was that I was just going to continue to decompensate, and there wasn't anything else they could do for me, and I should consider looking at disability and things like that. And for the first time in my people-pleasing, rule-following, type A life, I said, nope, I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. I don't believe that that's my future. I don't believe that that's how I am meant to operate on this planet. And so I started looking into alternative methods of healing. At the time, I went to naturopaths, acupuncture. I did, you name the modality, I tried it. I tried everything. And I ended up becoming a Reiki master teacher. And then I found the Akashic Records. And the Akashic Records, you can find other videos on my YouTube channel about that. I will link the primary one in the description of this video so you can understand what the Akashic Records are. But I didn't understand what they were. They made no sense, but I kept getting drawn to try them. So what I noticed was I would open the Akashic Records, and while I was in that space, I would have no physical symptoms. And then when I would close that space, I would be super energized. And my husband at the time said, I have no idea what you're doing. It makes absolutely no sense to me, but keep doing it because you're so much better. Not only was I physically better, which is the reason that I went into it, was for physical healing, but my anxiety went down. I was more confident than I'd ever been in my life. I had cognitive clarity, and I just had more energy in general. I was feeling more spunky, more like myself again. So without fully understanding this, I just kept doing it because the results were speaking for themselves. Got to the point where I started to integrate this into sessions with my traditional psychotherapy patients that were open to it, to really invite them into a deeper level of healing. Because that's what I was noticing with this, is that the depth of healing and the sustainability of healing was far beyond anything that I had found in the mental health world. And I've always been a practitioner who thought outside of the box, way, way beyond my quota on continuing education credits, always collaborating with other professionals in the field and trying all the programs under the sun. And there were just so many people that I found that were trying so hard and just not getting where they needed to go. they would keep coming back into these cycles, and particularly the ones with chronic symptoms. And they were so frustrated. And then they feel even more like a failure. So I started introducing this work to them, and it was literally like a switch flipped. They were like, oh my goodness gracious, thank God you got sepsis, because like this, I'm seeing myself for the first time. This is amazing. And I was like, I know, it's magical. And so it got to the point where after introducing this for over the course of a few years, everything that was coming out of my mouth at that point was energetic and spiritual in nature. I no longer believed in traditional diagnostics, mental health diagnosis. And I knew that there was something more sustainable and more enriching and more empowering and enlivening that they could access through the energetic and spiritual work. So I officially closed my traditional therapy practice in 2020. And I started doing this energetic and spiritual work full time. Fast forward a little bit. I guess it was late 2021 or early 2022. I kept getting this intuitive guidance to do a holistic mental health summit. And the purpose of this was that what they wanted me to do was to educate people about what holistic mental health is, and to introduce people to practitioners that are reliable, that are easily trusted, that have repeatable results, sustainable results, and that are really leading from a devoted, heart-centered, committed space, just really lovely, grounded, brilliant humans. And say, you know what? I want people to just find their person, right? Like find their person that they feel like, oh my gosh, I finally feel seen. I finally feel like this person would get me. Like finally, this is the person I've been waiting for. The perfect mix of this, this, and this, right? And it's like me acting as that person who invites people into connection with the foundational relationship to help them change and to help them access the highest level of wellness that they're looking for. So that's what initially dropped in. And I fought it hard for like 6 months. I fought it hard because my ego was like, no, I'm not going back into the mental health world. Like, I want to be away from that system as much as possible. Like, I don't even like to use the word mental health so much, right? Because I just feel like it's all intertwined. Physical health is intertwined with emotional health, which is intertwined with mental health, which is more cognitive, which is intertwined with energetic health and spiritual health. Those are the 5 pillars. When we're talking about holistic mental health, we're talking about emotional, energetic, mental, spiritual, and physical. All 5 layers need to be addressed. And we were taught to address most of those, not all of them, but most of them, when we were trained as psychotherapists. But it was really more of like a checking off the boxes thing and kind of understanding some of the context from which these people were coming from and that they were kind of couched in, rather than really making it the focus of let's maximize all of these pillars so that you can feel at your best, right? So this summit, I fought for a while because I didn't want to go back into the mental health system and really align with that in any way. And then as I softened and got over my ego tantruming, I realized that this is part of my mission. Like, it's part of my mission to very reliably share how important this work is, and that we need to change the narrative in approaching mental health care, in approaching our optimal wellness, whether we're talking about mental health, physical health, emotional health, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And I just wanted to speak to 3 different types of people: practitioners, so that they can expand their toolbox to include things that are more holistic in nature and not just focus on what's given to them from evidence-based practices in the traditional therapy world, but also to 2 types of consumers: the ones who have been going to therapy over and over again and really busted their butts and not seen the results that they're looking for and felt frustrated, and also the consumers that have never really been to therapy, never really believed in therapy, kind of thought that it was BS and didn't really know why, but never really resonated with them, but also felt like I could really use some support and I would really love it, but I don't really know where to begin because I don't want to go to therapy. And then I kind of feel like lost in the void in between. And what do I do? Right. And so I wanted resources to be able to speak to these people. And I had already done a few collaborations with the publisher that I worked with for Holistic Mental Health Volume 1, and that I'll be working with for Holistic Mental Health Volume 2. And we were on the phone one day, and it just made sense to have this like tangible resource, this anthology, a book for people to access and to refer back to as like a manual when they are desiring some shifting or some expansion in their lives, right? So this is where holistic mental health was born from. And I have to say, Project One was easy peasy lemon squeezy. Like it went off without a hitch because the practitioners that came were just the most just the most beautiful community. I learned a ton. I'm so grateful for the entire network of brilliant professionals that we have that were part of Holistic Mental Health Volume 1 and the summit. And if you want to read Holistic Mental Health Volume 1, you can get the ebook, the paperback, or the audiobook. I'll have a link in the description of this video so that you can click over if you want to check it out and just get a taste of what I'm talking about. But it's so beautiful, you guys. Like it's a mix of stories that these people tell. The stories themselves are so heartwarming and so intimate and vulnerable, and you will see yourself in one of them minimum, right? And just you'll feel validated, and you'll also feel expanded and like, wow, I never saw it that way. Your awareness will open. And then each of the chapters that were written by these beautiful authors includes a practice or a tool that you can implement right away. So it's like this mental health Bible, this holistic mental health Bible for you to be able to access regardless of what's going on. It's like, oh, I'm feeling this day. Okay, this relates to this chapter or this story. And you can use a tool to be able to really create a roadmap for yourself for how to move through some of the challenges that arise for you, or for your clients if you're a practitioner. So that's kind of how the book is structured. And volume 2 is kicking off on December 7th, 2023. We already have so many authors that have participated, but we do have a handful of spots left in this volume. And I want you to either reach out to me if you're a practitioner so we can jump on a call and talk about this, or recommend somebody that you know that is doing life-changing work like this in the world, who wants to share their voice, or you're like, oh my gosh, this person's modality blew my mind and changed my life. Those are the people that I want to be part of this experience. And I'll tell you what it looks like. I'm going to give you the details now. So basically, what happens is once you sign up for the project, and I'll leave the link for the project in the description of this video as well, so that you can check that out and read more about it and get a visual. I'll also put a post there that I put on Facebook that you can read a little bit more about, that just has a little bit more information for you. But I'm covering a lot of that in this video. So how it works is once you would sign up, you get a welcome email with all of the dates and everything. But we kick off on December 7th with the publisher. There's only a couple of required calls, and those are the 2 that happen with the publisher, one of them being on December 7th. And then the chapters are due on January 4th. The chapters are 2,500 to 3,000 words with an additional 300-word bio. That chapter consists of what I said earlier, a story that's either of something you've experienced, something that a loved one has experienced, or a client without naming names. And this is really to allow people to feel how impactful this work is, to feel like my story in Holistic Mental Health 1 was about my journey with sepsis. And it's wild to read that in specificity and just be like, wow, look what this person has overcome. Look where they are now. And there's 25 stories like that in the book. And it makes you a believer. It shows you how effective this work is and how deep it is and how long lasting it is. At which point you are then motivated to read the next part of the chapter, which introduces a practice or a tool that you can use to start actualizing the same results yourself. And in that part of the book, every author includes a link, at which point we can go to your website and we can watch a video where you take us through the practice so we don't have to work so hard and we can sit back and receive, so that you can add on to the practice and make it deeper. So you can add more text there if you don't want to stick to 3,000 words for the chapter. So people get more intimate connection with the practitioners to get a feel for, is this somebody that I feel like can help me change my life, can hold space for me as I change my life, right? We submit the chapters on January 4th, and then there's 3 rounds of editing. So you have a little space to change some things if you need to. And during that time, we record the summit. The summit recordings are jumping onto Zoom and doing a session together. So I'm going to bring something that I very, very genuinely desire to shift in my life. And then the practitioner is going to assist me with that as if they would assist a client. And this I love more than anything, because it takes the mystery out of holistic mental health. People don't understand, what does it look like when I go to a Reiki session? What does it look like when I go to an Akashic record session? What does it look like when I go to a tapping session? Like, what is this even like? How does this look? And people stay away from it because they don't get it. But when they can witness it and they can see you in action, being able to engage with somebody and really assist them with moving to that next level of who they are, they're like, oh my gosh, I need this person. You know, and those are the relationships that I really love to introduce people to, so that you can connect with those soul-aligned humans that are meant to guide you at this stage of your life. Okay. And so then we publish in April. And after April, about 3 weeks after we publish, the summit will roll out. It's completely free. People can sign up for that and receive a few videos a day. We like to keep them to about 20 minutes each so that they're digestible. At which point you can, you have about 9 or 10 days to watch all of those videos. Okay. So this project is for somebody who is very, very passionate and devoted to helping people actualize the highest level of themselves, and have done so repeatedly over the years in a way that they are so convicted in. Those are the people that I want to be part of this experience. And I'm so excited about everyone that's already part of it, because it's introducing concepts and stories that were not covered in volume 1. Like, and that's what I love, is that these volumes build on each other. And when you put them together, you're going to have these brilliant handbooks of so many tools to be able to refer back to, and to really feel like you're gaining momentum. And that's what we want, right? We want people to at least start feeling some of that momentum, because momentum begets momentum. And then you can add on to that and add on to that. And then you just keep moving forward. It's like stringing lights together. And then you're just illuminated at the end, right? So there is a fee to be part of the project, because we all split the fee that I submit to the publisher. So you can find that on the webpage that I'm going to put here in the comments. And if you want to connect on a Zoom call, just fill out the form on that page, or shoot me an email, or drop a comment here, and we can connect and jump onto Zoom and chat about whether this is a really good fit for us both, for you to join the project. But I'm so excited to be bringing this to you. I'm so excited for us to launch, just because the whole process is just very, very fun. It's very dynamic. It's just saturated with so much wisdom and depth. And we get to be introduced to a whole new network of people that some people join this project to just because they want to get published, and they believe obviously in sharing their voice about holistic mental health. Some of them join because they love the marketing component, because you get a ton of marketing. And just from a marketing standpoint alone, the fee is like nothing, right? Because you're getting onto podcasts, you're getting exposed to all 25 authors are sharing this out and sharing it to their social media and on their podcast that they do. And press releases, I mean, you name it. The marketing is amazing. And the audiobook gets created for this without any extra charge, which is a huge bonus. Self-publishing can be so complicated. Publishing your own book gets very pricey. And to have all of the bells and whistles that we have in this project, and to ensure that we have an Amazon bestseller, is not so easy when you're doing it on your own. And it costs a decent chunk of change. So this is a great way, because some people say, I'm ready to write my own book. but it feels daunting. And I kind of want to get a taste of the process first and get published and like feel like I'm getting my feet wet and get that momentum built for me so that I feel more confident going into my own book. That's why I joined a collaboration the first time I did it. And some people honestly just join this because they believe in the mission. They just believe in the mission and they want to share their story. And sharing your story and writing your story is healing in itself. And that's why there's tons of support. I hold Zoom calls every other month that the publisher doesn't. You don't have to be there if you don't want to. You can leverage this project as little or as much as you want. Some people leverage it to the nines and are just like flying high with it. And some people just do the bare bones. But I have Zoom calls for networking, for collaboration, for support, for helping each other with our businesses, right? And just understanding like, hey, who knows how to upload a YouTube video? Or, hey, I really want to get on these podcasts. And who knows how to do that, right? And we're all there to support and help each other. We're like a little family, okay? And I promise you, if you're nervous about writing or you're nervous about speaking, this experience is going to change that for you, which is going to help you with writing your content. It's going to help you with writing anything creative or fun, even blogs, right? It's going to help you with writing emails for your business. And it's also beautiful because the writing style for this project is super casual. Like you're meant to write as if you're writing to your best friend and just like having a casual conversation because you want people to really feel who you are. We're not going to like put on airs here and make this academic paper and like a journal entry to like, you know, not like in your personal journal, but like, you know, if you were to publish into like a medical journal or something like that. Okay. This isn't formal. This is about you just sharing your heart. And I tell people, don't think too much. Just open up your heart and pour out what is meant to be received by the collective, what is meant to be spoken through you in service of the highest vitality of this planet. Okay. So there's a lot of different layers at which you can get involved in this, but it's a beautiful, beautiful invitation to be part of this community on its own, to extend yourself to a much wider audience. There's a very different audience that aligns with the book versus aligning with the summit, right? People that are online watching a summit are very often different from the people who are purchasing a paperback. So, or an audiobook for that matter. So it gives you some more breadth of exposure as well. And I'll tell you, especially with the summit, people just fly right in because they're able to see what you do. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I want to be in this chair across from this person. You know what I mean? All right. So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you here. You know, just a couple things that this is a book that you can be guaranteed is going to sell, you know, versus like self-published where, or publishing your own book where you're like, I don't know, I hope this works, you know, and you can be guaranteed if you're really paying top dollar, but you can be guaranteed that this book is going to sell. It's going to be successful. It's going to do well because of the way that we go about it, because this is volume 2. We've already done volume 1 and we're very seasoned, not just the publisher, particularly the publisher, but also myself and some other people who are part of this project who have done this before as well. Okay. And this really allows you to kind of show off your gifts, you know, and to be really bold and demonstrative about it, which can be an expansion in your own leadership. It often is an expansion in your own leadership to be able to own that you are an expert in this area. Okay. So let me know if this is something you'd be interested in. You can click the link below and fill out the form on my site, or you can shoot me a message or drop a comment here and let me know that you want to chat about it. It's very, very important to me that you are devoted to this movement, to raising awareness for holistic mental health and holistic practices, and that you are convicted in your belief as to how impactful this work is. Thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you very soon.